What's going on, wrestling fans? Zero Wrestling Warm-Up. It's Monday. We've got about an hour before the Raw pre-show goes live on the WWE Network, and we're talking Monday Night Raw. We're talking SummerSlam. It's the guys from WrestlingRumors.net bringing you a brand new edition of our Raw pre-show wrestling warm-up. And as you see tonight, you can join our chat room on WrestlingRumors.net. You go to the first image you see, the featured image of Wrestling Warm-Up. You click on that. You can go. You can watch this show. Join our chat room. We usually have you guys in with us. We've had some consistent technical difficulties with people joining our show. We want people to be able to engage, especially before programs, especially before pay-per-views and that kind of stuff. But tonight we're going to try something different just to see if things work a little smoothly or a little more smoother, if you will. And we'll see what happens. As long as we can speak perfect English. Obviously I can't tonight. We're going to see what happens. But that's usually not an issue, but tonight it looks like it's going to be. We have Alex B-Song from WrestlingRumors.net joining us with a crazy picture of Kurt Angle down there beside his name, and for some reason he's...
Sharknado 2.
Sharknado 2, with Kurt Angle actually breaking a shark's freaking neck, if you haven't heard what actually happens in the movie. Christopher Walter joins us now from the crazy land of Canada, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because Canada's getting a crazy version of the network, which is interesting and not cool, as you're already giving it a thumbs down. And, of course, John Alba has joined us with his presence this evening. He's done with his MLB run and can finally watch a little bit of what is probably going to be a terrible Raw tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about why we think it's probably going to be a terrible Raw. Before we get anywhere into actually talking about what's advertised for the show, we have a little bit of an idea of what's actually going to be happening. And what we know of right now is that the main event players, your main event for SummerSlam, they won't even be on the program. John Cena is out making the movie. This is not the first Monday he's missed in this road to SummerSlam. 2 weeks ago he missed as well, working on The Nest in New York, and then this tonight he's out working on Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, Judd Apatow movie, and one of those things where he's doing his thing, and there have been reports that people in the back are worried about whether or not John Cena is going to leave the WWE for Hollywood, and that's just, come on, guys. He's not going anywhere until he retires. If anybody wants to chime in with thoughts on Cena going to Hollywood, go ahead. But I don't think that's going to happen until he actually is ready to retire from the company. He's too much of a wrestling guy. He's too much of the Hulk Hogan of the company. He really is this generation's Hulk Hogan. So
even Hulk Hogan went to go act.
Yeah, well, something. He went to do something. It wasn't act. It was an attempted act. Anybody remembers Three Ninjas? The terrible third Three Ninjas movie with Hulk Hogan as the villain. That was awful, and that should never have been made. Not to mention Mr. Nanny was terrible as well. But those fans of Hogan movies and TV shows like Thunder in Paradise, people realize those things are awful.
Well, the thing was that was also unexplored territory at the time.
Correct.
We hadn't seen a crossover star before at that point. Now it's even The Miz getting on a direct-to-DVD. Can we call it a movie?
It's a movie. It's a direct-to-DVD on-demand.
Well, I was thinking
film.
Monstrosity.
Have you seen it?
Well, it's the fifth, is fourth or fifth, right?
The Marine? I think it's the Marine 4.
Okay, fourth. It's the fourth installment of a franchise where not a single movie was actually good.
And the best one was still bad. Like the first one was the best one, and it's still bad.
Right.
So, and that's John Cena, who people are worried about going to Hollywood. Like, come on, guys. He's not freaking Dwayne Johnson, who honestly still I laugh every time I look at the Hercules trailers.
We all can't be as awesome as Drax the Destroyer, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Walter and I both saw Guardians of the Galaxy last night, and I have to say, if not the best Marvel movie, one of the best. It probably ties Avengers as the best one that they've done so far, if it doesn't beat it. I would definitely say it's this generation's Star Wars, as far as the closest thing to that kind of vibe throughout the entire movie. And Batista does an awesome job with the Drax character. Very dry sense of humor, very fun, very entertaining, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again in theaters, actually. And it's one of those things where if I can say that and be willing to go shack out another $14 to see it in the theater, pretty good movie. That doesn't happen much with me to go see multiple times a movie in the theaters nowadays, at least. Anyway, but let's talk about Raw. Like we said,
we have to, Dad.
Cena and of course your fabulous opponent for Cena at SummerSlam, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Neither one of these guys are going to be on the show tonight. They're going to have like this long ass preview video package for these guys. What do you expect to see in the video package? Because there was I remember
Lesnar.
I remember before we got to WrestleMania in 2001, before we got to WrestleMania 17, there was a week where Austin and Rock didn't appear on the show. Okay, but they had to sit down in the back. And that was awesome. That interview was fantastic, and it was tense. There was so much tension, and really, it was really cool hype between the two. But we're not going to get something like that. We're going to get a style of. We're going to definitely see clips of Lesnar ending the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. We're going to get them both training a la Drago and Rocky. We're going to get these different types of them. In the gyms, training, do whatever they got to do. It's one of those things where I'm not really interested in even seeing that.
I'll tell you what we're not going to get. We're not going to get clips of the Extreme Rules match. That didn't happen.
Nope.
That match. It happened. It happened up until a month ago because they were still showing Cena, AA and Lesnar overcoming the odds. They you know what they love? They love those two little twin boys in the front row. The blonde twin boys in their green Cena shirts.
Yes.
Love those kids. So much so, in watching back some old pay-per-views on the network, the next pay-per-view after that was Over the Limit. They stuck that same family in the same exact seats in an entirely different city the very next pay-per-view. Because they love them, but guess what? You're not going to see any of them this time around. Look, here's the deal. I don't like this at all, and it's... How do you not have Brock Lesnar committed for these dates at this point? How do you not?
That's why.
Money.
The guy's contractually obligated to only appear certain dates, and they've got him booked through September. They've got him booked through September, and then if he's going to appear, if he does win the championship and somehow maintains the championship past September, which I just honestly don't see that happening. But I think that he'll at least win the championship on August 17th. But if he doesn't hold if he does hold the title to Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, then they got to use him for dates there too. So they can't book him for a mediocre, run in the middle of the road Raw where Cena's not going to even be there either. And then they can better spend their money on bringing him in next week during the go home show. But yeah, I agree, but nothing about this match outside of what's going to happen with the title interests me in this match.
At least if it was Daniel Bryan like it was supposed to be, he would have been there.
Correct.
So I'd be way more interested in a Daniel Bryan versus Lesnar match because at least we haven't seen that. We've seen Cena Lesnar.
No, you haven't.
I know they don't
Doesn't
want
exist.
It's another Triple H Undertaker thing. It's like when they eliminated the fact that they had a match at WrestleMania 17, and it's like, oh.
But that was at least like 10 years prior to that.
Yeah.
This is not.
4 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Oh, was it 2012?
It was 2 years. It was the day. It was the pay-per-view after WrestleMania 28.
It was 2012.
Oh yeah, I'll be damned. Well then, screw this
thing. The day that Brock Lesnar came back was right after WrestleMania, and yeah, they went straight into it.
And I'm not hating on it because I do think it'll be a fun match to watch.
But that was a great build.
I don't know.
That was an awesome feud. That was
a great build. It was an amazing build. I mean, the legit fight that they had where Lesnar busted John Cena's lip was so awesome. Having everybody come out to pull him apart, and then the build from there on with Heyman giving some amazing promos.
And that was without Heyman. That was without Heyman.
But yeah, Heyman wasn't.
But they also had the luxury of it being an Extreme Rules match, which suits Lesnar.
Correct. And it's one of those things where, even Lesnar had a sit-down interview that they had on WWE.com and showed.
I'm not a superstar. I'm an ass kicker.
I'm an ass kicker. You know, it was one of those things where it's like, wow, this guy's back and he's going to make a crazy impact instantly. And then we got 3 Triple H matches after that. And you know, it wasn't as good as we thought originally. And then of course we got the last Triple H match was really good.
But remember, the only really bad match Lesnar has had so far didn't have a stipulation behind it, and that was the first match he had with Triple H at SummerSlam. The steel cage match, the no disqualification at WrestleMania. Even I think CM Punk's match was no disqualification too. I mean, Lesnar, this needs a stipulation with Cena.
Hey, remember how Lesnar faced Big Show at Royal Rumble, or does nobody remember?
I was there, and I don't even remember that.
I remember because I said
booked well.
It has to be booked.
It wasn't a match.
Short and extremely brutal, and that's exactly what happened. He just beat the holy hell out of him with chairs. So, which is cool. They sold like the broken chair for the Sandy Hook, charity. So that's pretty cool. But the thing is, I mean, there's nothing really special about this match yet, and to not have that kind of build that they had in 2012. Just doesn't excite me for it. And they're going to build this thing up like it's the biggest match of the year and that it really matters. And the only way that it matters is if Lesnar pulls out the title at the end of the night.
Why has there not been a bigger precedence put on Lesnar wanting to be champion over him wanting to kick Cena's ass? Because we've already heard that I want to kick Cena's ass. It should be about him. Okay, I beat the streak. Now this is what I want. And Heyman said that. But that hasn't been, like, the backbone of this, which is what it should be.
Well, we might hear that tonight, right?
Hey,
is Heyman on Raw tonight?
No, he's in New York.
Yeah.
He's in New York, yeah.
No, neither Heyman nor Lesnar nor Cena.
So how do we hear that tonight?
Maybe
in the video package, but that's all. I mean, they might push that in the video package.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Lesnar and Heyman paid a visit to the Bella household, the Bella Cena household. This past week, kind of like when they went to Stamford.
And they reorganized Nikki's office.
Would it really shock anybody, though?
Lesnar was the burglar going to Daniel and Bree's house.
Okay.
But again, though, wouldn't it shock anybody if Raw ends tonight with another Brie Bella versus Stephanie McMahon?
No, it wouldn't shock me one bit because they're trying to build this matchup to be freaking.
It's the co-main event, really.
It seriously is a Diva main event that has nothing to do with the title. The Divas title was announced today, 3 hours before Raw.
But
that
she's
goes
hurt.
to show you how dominant that is.
But she's hurt.
Yeah, isn't she seriously injured? Mm-hmm. She got carried out on a stretcher for crying out.
Go ahead, Doug. Go ahead, Doug.
I have
Go ahead, Doug. Rant on it. Go ahead. This is a tailor-made Doug rant here.
I have these noises, but I don't have the noise of someone jacking off. I really wish that I had that so I could just go. Get out of here with that bull crap. The fact that Yahoo made an actual news article, and yes, it's time for a rant. The fact that Yahoo made an actual news article that said AJ Lee is legitimately injured following the attack from Paige on SmackDown. Are you kidding me? Is it 1985 and Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan haven't gotten caught riding in the car together and kayfabe still exists? Are we seriously doing this? We're really going to say, oh, she was legitimately injured? Yeah, it looked nasty. She landed on her freaking
she sells like a champ.
She sells like a champ because she is the champ, okay? Right. The girl can wrestle. And you're going to sit there and tell me that legitimate news organizations, it was on Google News, it was on Yahoo News, it was on all these different things. The Divas champ is injured. The Divas champ is injured. Seriously, kayfabe is going this far? I love the fact that there's a little bit of kayfabe left in wrestling. But to try to do that online, like... You can't have that happening in one spectrum of the internet, and then in the other half you have Dixie Carter and TNA promoting that Dixie Carter's getting put through an effing table by the biggest face/heel/hardcore guy in their organization. Get the hell out of here! You can't have Dixie going, you have to watch Impact because I get put through a table, and then have Yahoo saying AJ Lee's legitimately injured, but then WWE.com today is going, AJ Lee on Raw tonight is going to want to get her come up, and you're like, get out of here! Like, what is wrong with you people? Don't give me that.
That's like, that's an awkward conversation at Punk's house. Eh? He's like, Hey, babe, are you hurt? No? Okay.
Okay. Well, I saw it on Yahoo News, so I thought maybe you're actually hurt. Get the hell out of here.
It's here on the website. It has to be true. No, I'm fine. Okay.
Dude, it's just one of those things where
Because you can leave if you want to.
I can't handle that. Like I'm fine with somebody trying to push kayfabe on WWE.com. It's expected. But when WWE.com is not even going off of this,
they're loving it.
They reported Friday that she's injured. Okay, going kayfabe. Yahoo picked that up as a legitimate story, and WWE's like, hey, yeah. And then you got freaking today. They're like, no, she's fine. She'll be on Raw later. She might have a neck brace on, but she'll be fine.
Her spirit is broken because Brie Bella is in a more important match than her at SummerSlam.
Well, then she should just quit like CM Punk did. Learn from the husband. He's the leader of the household, right?
Who quit because her husband was trying to finagle his way.
Oh my God! It's one of those things, man.
The view stays the same.
That's one of those things. It's hilarious to me. It really is. It really is that these actual news organizations picked that up. She's gonna be there. The match got made official today on Yahoo. On Yahoo. The match got officially made today on WWE.com for SummerSlam. If she was actually hurt, she would not be wrestling at SummerSlam.
They could just do another Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose thing.
Yeah. They're finally starting to pick up a little bit of steam with Paige and AJ, too. It only took, 2 months, but they're finally starting.
Because they finally got Paige in the character that she needed to be from when she started. The girl's been aggressive. She needs to be a heel.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying this feud. A lot more than I'm enjoying this Brie Stephanie stuff, which, yes, I really think the Brie Stephanie stuff gets its own, actual segment tonight, and it may be the 10 o'clock segment, it may be the last segment. I don't know if it's. I think Orton
do you want
out tonight.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do you guys want to see Nikki Bella get involved in this?
Yep.
I mean,
no, she has to. That's the only way this match ends. Because Stephanie's going over, so either you have Triple H pedigree Brie, or the more logical choice. Nikki comes out, turns heel, and then you get a feud with Brie and Nikki. Because this is the only match Stephanie McMahon's going to be wrestling. She ain't doing this again at Night of Champions. This is a one-off thing. You need something to move Brie away from that, so you have Nikki turn heel.
I mean, I agree, except for I would really like to see Triple H actually pedigree
Brie.
That'd be an amazing.
Do we see Daniel and Triple H ringside? Probably not. Right?
I think that you do. Well, it depends on if Triple H is working a match or not, which right now he's not.
Probably not, no.
So if he's not working a match, then he's at ringside. And that gets Daniel Bryan on TV.
Well, let's see if he had another surgery recently. We don't know.
He could still be there.
He looks fine at the press conference.
That was 2 weeks ago.
It looks like he can move. He took a guy down who was burglarizing his damn house. I think he could stand ringside for a couple minutes.
Yeah, when did he become a vegetable?
I never said that.
Yeah, Alex, you tell him.
He could be ringside.
If a guy has a major neck surgery,
the song with the wind.
If a guy has a major neck surgery and you don't want him out there, and a couple days later, I'm just saying we don't know when he's getting the second surgery, so.
Well, then you're killing the mood, Alba.
Yeah.
You want Brian there, man.
It's legitimate. You don't know when he's.
It's the reality era. The reality is he's having another neck surgery.
Okay, so Lewis in the chat room says that he read on another website, which apparently I just destroyed by
they exist?
Talking about this whole kayfabe thing, because these other websites reported that AJ Lee was legitimately hurt, even though she wasn't. One of these things, notice when I report someone's hurt, I always put it in quotations because it's kayfabe, and I tell you, if you read our stories, it literally says this is a storyline angle. If you read the story about Paige and AJ Lee getting added to SummerSlam today, I literally let you know this is an angle. This is not real. Stop biting the stupid bait that people try to throw at you if you're going to call yourself a smart fan. One of those things where he says that they're going to actually, the interview that they're airing tonight is Brock Lesnar unscripted, which is stupid. I don't believe that for one bit either. Brock Lesnar unscripted is a chaotic, probably 8-hour shoot. for 2 minutes of material. I don't think there's any way they didn't give him bullet points and say, all right, you got to talk about this, but stay in these boundaries and try to make something sound okay. If it is just him sitting there actually talking instead of Paul talking for him, we get that 2012 ass kicker kind of interview with him again, then cool. But I don't think it's going to be that stupid unscripted thing that everyone's wanting him to come out and just throw caution to win and say whatever he wants. That's not going to happen. So if you're reading that on another website, cool. I really don't think that there's a way that Lesnar gets any kind of unscripted airtime. If it's a videoed interview, you can bet your ass that they've edited this thing down. And if it's unscripted and just bullet pointed for Lesnar, then it literally was an 8-hour shoot for 4 minutes. Because the guy can't make sense.
Personality.
And I love this. Someone else already mentioned this in the chat room, and it was a smart comment, and I loved it. Brock Lesnar unscripted is literally this: Paul, say something stupid. That's Lesnar being unscripted. Say something stupid, Paul. So that's the unscripted stuff for Lesnar. I don't really think we're going to see anything unscripted there, but we will talk about this Intercontinental Championship feud, which I think we get more build towards tonight. We've had two different reports about the fact that they've talked about and teased. They teased it last month with Battleground, the whole unification of the United States Heavyweight Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Teased it with Sheamus saying he wanted to unify them if he wins the Battle Royal. That's exactly what would happen. They teased it last year with Ambrose and Big E. One of those things where we've talked about there's new titles. There should be new titles coming out with the new logo on August 18th, the night after SummerSlam. This month we should be getting new titles. We're getting new logo on everything. And we're probably going to be retiring the big gold belt and having just one WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And we're going to see if they're going to actually unify the U.S. and IC titles. If they do so, we reported today, Christopher Walter reported today on the website that it would be a triple threat, or at least the triple threat's been discussed. With having Sheamus come back tonight, Sheamus is advertised for Raw, the first Raw that he's attended since Battleground. He has not been on WWE TV since then. To severe flu, and that severe flu being made up of some kind of dark Sith-like symptoms, is what I heard.
Way to beat around the bush, Doug.
I'm beating around. I'm beating around a burn victim that was cybernetically rebuilt, and he's the father of someone that's going to be in this new movie I heard of. But one of those things where Sheamus literally was all filming a part as Darth Vader in the new Star Wars movie, and WWE put out this whole severe flu rumor so that people would, not think anything twice of him being gone. And of course, Abrams loves doing the secretive bullcrap for his movies. So, the runaround is what we've gotten with Sheamus. He's posting these extremely happy pictures of him on Twitter riding around Ireland. I'm going, severe flu my ass. Like, what? Who's actually been sick, like, severely from the flu and been riding on this little this little bicycle through Ireland? I don't know.
It's an hourly flu.
Not me. Severe. He had a severe flu for one day and then he went to Ireland.
I just don't get it.
But one of those things where
Darth Vader's a ginger.
Yeah. See, well, you never know.
He doesn't have a soul.
Damn it, Alex! Our ginger viewership just went.
Did we just lose one viewer? Oh.
I can call Canadian black people African Americans. You can't call them soulless.
Love you, babe.
That's not allowed. But Sheamus, Miz, who is the Intercontinental Champion, Sheamus is a United States Champion, and of course, Dolph Ziggler has been in the mix, dealing with the Miz. They've been teasing this Miz-Ziggler feud coming up. They've had some issues.
But that's how you know the triple threat match rumor is incredible, because why would they need Ziggler in this? I know he's been doing his shtick with the Miz, but if you're doing a unification match, it's Intercontinental Champion versus United States Champion. It's Sheamus versus Miz.
It could have also been an audible. It's not like we've never seen them audible before.
Sheamus has the flu. Because we need a third guy in there because Lord knows he'll hit his lungs will fail in the match.
Lord knows.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that they didn't. I mean, maybe they had expected. Maybe Sheamus won't even be there.
Now, keep in mind, we also heard that report that Ziggler was supposedly penciled in at one point to win the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal.
Correct.
So
if you believe that, then there's a little bit of longevity to this, that they actually had some plans for Ziggler for the first time in 15 years.
Which maybe they have, maybe they have plans with him going forward as a unified champion. Maybe Ziggler unifies them at Night of Champions. You got to remember, Night of Champions is going to be built like a WrestleMania, so the money is more at Night of Champions unifying the titles. And we've talked about that in different shows, but
if they're going to create the new belts and they're going to unveil them, we assume on August 18th after SummerSlam, why would they create one new belt and then get rid of it in a month?
But no one said they're going to unveil all the new titles on the 18th.
So let's assume that that's the case, though.
They could announce a match ahead of time, and then just unveil the title with no champion.
Right. I mean, the thing is, you could say. I mean, you could even do. I mean, they love doing these unification ladder matches at this point. One of those things where you could have we haven't seen an IC title ladder match.
I was about to say a ladder match for a mid-card title. What are you, 2002? You silly man, you.
Hey, there have been some awesome ones, okay?
Rock Triple H, baby.
Lest we forget Rock versus Triple H, lest we forget Eddie Guerrero, Rob Van Dam.
In 1998. Look,
Rob Van Dam, Eddie Guerrero was 2001.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it. But, God, this generation, their target audience right now has no idea that stuff even happened. And I'll tell you why, because half of them aren't buying the WWE Network, and the other half just weren't alive for it in the first place. So it's just like, that's Alex. A foreign concept. We have that expectation. Look, I was looking back the other night. I totally forgot that Benoit, I think it was Benoit and Triple H, had an Iron Man match on Raw. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
This stuff happened at one time. We haven't had an Iron Man match in close to 10 years.
Because who could pull it off in this era?
I was about to say, you don't have a lot of guys that could pull it off.
They could have done Punk Bryan. That's where they missed
Daniel Bryan could do
Punk
it.
Bryan Iron Man match.
Perfect.
Their 2011 feud should have had an Iron Man match in it.
Punk in 2011, 2012 maybe, but Punk the last 7 months of his career, no. Heck no.
The only people who come up now is Rollins Ambrose. That's it.
Maybe Rollins Ambrose. That would be
Cena could do it.
At some point. I don't know about Cena doing it.
They did 30 minutes on
FCW. 45-minute main events.
What's a 3-hour Raw? You can get away with it.
So most of Cena's 45-minute events have to have something outside of the ring. Have to have it has to be a no DQ Iron Man, where he can go outside and do crazy spots outside of the ring. There's no way Cena can stay in the ring and pull off a classic like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. There's no way. I'm not one of the ones that says John Cena can't wrestle, because I felt like he proved that he could. He's proven multiple times that he can actually wrestle.
Well, there's a reason why his only Iron Man match was no disqualification. That helped him a bunch.
That's my whole thing, is that stipulation has to be added to that, because he has to go outside the ring. They have to have those kinds of spots for John Cena, because he's not a mat technician. I mean, you could do it with Cesaro and somebody. You could do Cesaro and
we'll get
Sami Zayn. You could do Zayn and Cesaro at some point, dude. That would
we'll get Bryan Angle at WrestleMania in a submissions match.
By the way, this is completely off topic, but the next NXT special, Takeover 2, I believe it's called, that main event. Neville, Zayn, Breeze, and Kid. Are you kidding me? That has match of the year written all over it.
It's gonna be sick. I mean, I'm not even mad that that's happening. I'm very excited about that happening, actually, and I do believe that Neville loses the title, and I honestly think that we get Zayn finally obtains his title. You remember, and Neville in a 4-way. Neville does not have to be beat. It could be Zayn pinning Kid, who is the ultimate pissed off guy right now because he keeps losing matches and feels like he needs the restitution of his career. One of those things where Zayn can get the title right there, and then of course Neville moves up, and then Zayn moves up soon after that, and I think that's what we're gonna see. honestly think Zayn, because we're not going to see Zayn come up to the main roster without him having to run the NXT title. He's made it. It's too big of a deal for him to win it. So.
The only time a champion retains in a fatal 4-way is if Cena's heading to SummerSlam.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But Breeze had a great promo on the past week's episode.
Right, and I think Breeze and Zayn will be a good feud moving forward after that fatal 4-way.
God bless Tyler Breeze because Miz stole his gimmick.
They'd have no idea how to put Tyler Breeze on the main roster.
The don't touch the face thing. That's completely Breeze.
They'll have no idea how to book Tyler Breeze on the main roster once he gets there.
His ties will be held against him.
Well, I mean, it's one of those characters. It's one of these characters that we've been getting of the late. That you just
by the way,
get past the mid card.
Sandow comes out as Stone Cold tonight, right?
Oh, it's Austin, Texas. What other way to troll the crowd than have the glass break and have freaking, Stone Cold Steve Sandow come out? I mean, why would you not? We call it here. We're calling it here on Wrestling Rumors First. On Wrestling Warm Up, we're saying right now that Damien Sandow comes out as Stone Cold Steve Sandow tonight.
Or some variation of that name.
Some variation of that name.
Ooh.
It's happening. It's Austin. I mean, other than that, who would he come out as? Who did you say?
Tony Romo.
Visually, he'd pull it off a little more.
I think he'd see more,
He breaks his ankle walking down the ramp.
Unless it comes out as Mac Brown or something, but even that's a stretch. If you don't know college football, you have no idea who Mac Brown is. So.
I do not. I'm Canadian, damn it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's more than likely going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's also going to be involved with the SummerSlam panel. But let's go back to the mid-card titles, because we're going to get a lot of that tonight. We've also talked about the fact that Rusev, they've thought about putting the title on Rusev, the U.S. title, for his whole, run with.
But he has a flag match.
But he has a flag match so that he can lose and not look weak. So that he can finally get beat by someone and not look weak, which I think is smart. I'm not a fan of flag matches, but I think it's smart when you're handling a monster character like Rusev. But I think if Rusev can get the title off of Sheamus at some point, then Rusev Swagger 3 at Night of Champions. Again, every title should be contested for at Night of Champions.
Isn't that what usually happens?
Well, I mean,
wasn't the case last year.
It happened last year. So one of those things where that was a big thing last year. We were all like, "This is not Champions, and there's titles that aren't being tested for." But one of those things where, honestly, these are titles that people really don't care about. I still think that they're going to unify them at some point, and why not at Night of Champions, or at least SummerSlam? The rumor right now is SummerSlam, triple threat, Sheamus, Miz, and Dolph Ziggler, which leaves Rusev and Swagger. Probably Rose and Sandow. At some point, we're going to get a massive tag match with the Rhodes brothers and the Usos and the Wyatts. But the Wyatts, I don't know what they're doing.
It's looking more and more likely.
Initially, we were saying the Wyatts wouldn't be part of it because they're going to be in the whole Jericho-Bray Wyatt match. But tonight or Friday, they're going to do another match with Chris Jericho and Luke Harper and send Luke Harper to the back. So it's going to be one-on-one at the event. So...
But the Ascension.
Damn it, John.
You forgot about Ryback. Oh.
Damn it, Alex. Double damn it.
Okay, it could be. You're not going to do. You can do a Fatal 4-Way tag match at SummerSlam
with the Ascension.
What indication are we getting that Stardust and Goldust are going to get thrown in this thing?
That's their whole point. We're going to get it tonight at some point. That's been their whole thing that they're talking about. Is this whole Cosmic Key thing. The Cosmic Key are the titles. Last week we finally got an indication that the Cosmic Key is the Tag Team Championship.
They're secretly Spartans.
Goldust said they have it. They have it, and then they walked off camera, meaning we're going after the Tag Team titles. That was my whole... If watching wrestling for the last 25 years doesn't show anything to me, it shows me that their Cosmic Key search is the Tag Team Championship.
So we get Usos, Rhodes,
they have it.
Wyatts, and the Nation, I guess, whatever they're called. Do they have a name yet?
No. They do not have a name yet, and they'll let you know what their name is when they want you.
When they want to.
Big E Kingston. I don't know, whatever.
No.
What do I know?
Cold feet.
Coffee. I don't know. Coffee. Whatever. What am I doing?
Hey, they're heels.
I'll escort myself out.
But it's one of those things where, the funny thing is, what's everybody arguing about in the chat right now? That you can't come in here on this show right now and not say anything? At least in the chat room, we're actually getting everybody to talk at one time. We can actually understand each other. That's a good thing. But no, I'm just being serious. At least we can understand each other right now, and I'm actually being able to read what people are saying. We've had a lot of issues as far as technical difficulties on the program. We're trying this out tonight. We didn't say this is going to be what it's going to be every single week. Just hang in there with us, guys. If you're liking what we're doing, if you like listening and being on the show, come in here, and you can still have a chance to be on the show because we can still see what you're talking about, and we can actually bring up what you're saying. It's not like we haven't been throwing ideas from the chat out into the show. We love you guys, and we still want you guys to be a part of this. We don't want you to just stop watching and stop being a part because you're not actually, your face isn't on the show. You're not just sitting in the panel not saying anything. That's and we can hear your cat meowing in the next room. It's one of those things where, and we have you constantly dropping or a delay or anything like that. We've had a lot of technical issues, and this just allows you to be able to still talk to us, still be a part of the program, and, still be able to hang out and talk to us about what's going on.
What if the Ascension debuts in the chat room?
The Ascension debuting in the chat room would be the end-all be-all.
Why do I even talk about them anymore?
What are their names?
When they debut, they debut. What are their names again?
Yeah, it's like Victor and...
It's
I don't watch
Rick,
NXT, I don't know.
Rick, Nick,
Joey, Lance.
Something, whatever they have to do is something with the, something with NXT, because it's damn sure not the main roster, because they have not debuted and probably won't for some time.
Until Kalisto and Sin Cara become tag team champions.
Oh my God! Well, at least El Local is fired, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, he was your boy.
At this point.
He was your boy.
He was dead. Okay, that's why he came back in a mask. Nobody wanted to see his
physically
zombie
dead. Zombie.
You know that joke lasted almost an entire year. Almost.
He got murdered at Battleground last year.
Let's almost an entire year.
That was awful. He literally got murdered by his own superstar. One of those things where the Jericho Wyatt. Honestly, we're either gonna get Orton and Reigns closing out the show, or Wyatt Jericho. Those are your other big matches for the show. Rollins and Ambrose, Orton and Reigns, and Bree.
Bo Dallas and R-Truth.
No, because
the streak is over, Doug. What are we doing?
Bo Dallas is going to obliterate
SummerSlam
R-Truth.
Bo Dallas and R-Truth?
It'll probably be
obliterate
like the
him.
kickoff
Oh
match.
no! Why him? Man?
Who else is Bo Dallas going to face at SummerSlam?
He could face Ziggler if they unify the titles. That would actually be a good match.
It would be.
The streak. Who cares what he does now? The streak is over. My belief has been shattered.
Because
if R-Truth can end the streak, like, come on, what the hell were they thinking by having him
if
do
they're
it?
trying to make him a heel, and that's exactly what they're doing. They
got
pissed.
Well,
They got pissed off. They got pissed off that Bo Dallas was getting over as a face. And now it's all right. Let's end the streak. Let's make him a heel. See what happens.
They picked R-Truth, Chris. They picked R-Truth, and I put some thought into this too. They picked R-Truth because R-Truth was a guy who would get a cheap pop A if he won, and B, he's the type of guy who can take a beatdown and it have zero effect on him in the end whatsoever because nobody cares enough. So
if they wanted to turn, sorry, go.
I was just saying you can't have like a major respectable guy win it because then that major respectable guy gets beaten down and it doesn't. I don't know.
If they wanted to turn him heel so damn bad, they should have pulled a Daniel Bryan and had him bow down to the Wyatt family until Bo Dallas beats the crap out of Bray in a steel cage.
Oh, shut
and the Bo Wyatt is dropped, and then he becomes the biggest face in the company and main events WrestleMania. What? Perfect! Why am I not writing this?
You're hiring a freaking Canadian, man. What?
We have our
the
different
Ascension hasn't debuted yet, Walter. That's why.
Yeah. Where's the Ascension, man?
Where's the Ascension, Walter? And then I'll let you right
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Can we talk about how Canada lucked out with the
Cassius
WWE
Ohno?
network, though?
Is Cassius Ono a Heyman guy yet?
Oh my God, it's Cassius Ohno.
I was actually just gonna say that. I'm like, man, is Cassius Ohno gonna join the Shield?
Cassius Ohno just a McDonald's guy because the guy's getting fat as crap.
What happened?
Seen him at latest indie shows. This whole reason that he got fired about being chunky and not wanting to work out. Yeah, there's truth to that rumor. Just getting freaking huge.
We called BS on that too, but they were not lying.
They were not lying. No, he's got bread on his back. At this
Chris
point.
Hero Burger.
It's pretty gross. A Chris Hero. Chris Hero. I like it. But yeah, we can talk about the network right quick since we're about to hear it for 3 hours straight on Raw about the network. Supposedly 128,000 people have already canceled their subscriptions, which is nuts. They are going to go down from I think the initial count on the annual the second quarter report for revenue stream for the WWE this past Thursday said something like 750 was the rounded off kind of number for that, but now they're already saying 128 are canceling after August. Have put a stop on the payment. What does that do? That sends it down to a bad level of subscribers. And one of those things where what's going to happen? We're taking this thing globally. Vince was very positive in what he was saying. I was on the phone call listening to everything going on Thursday morning, and Vince was, trying to put it over as much as possible. So was Barrios. They were saying that this is a good base. This is a good base of subscribers to send the company globally with. And one of those things where you kind of believed him, but then you hear other reports and you're like, how can I believe this? They need to get to 1.6 million to be out of debt in this whole thing, and we're already talking about 128,000 leaving. You're gonna tell me that now you have a little bit over 500K in your subscription list. You have 600 and something, and now we're going globally, but not everywhere yet. I would assume that the UK will have a good buy rate as far as things go, but probably not as much as America. And then, of course, Canada. Walter, we learned that Rogers Communication has signed a 10-year deal with WWE to keep Raw and whatever else. I don't know what other shows they broadcast, but
Heat.
We broadcast Sportsnet 360. We actually get NXT an hour before it airs on the network.
Are you still getting like Val Venus matches or?
No, we have like this recap show. Well, we used to have a recap show with Gino Cummins and Renee Young. They not jacked. What the hell, man? What do you think Canada gets shafted all the time? What kind of reputation do we have in America? What do you think of us? Jeez, get your laughs in now.
WWE
never fight any war, those kinds of things.
Look, are you wearing? First of all, I used to be.
I just realized that your question is, am I wearing pants? I'll tell everyone right now, I'm not wearing pants. I'm just.
Hello.
Hey, that's not a joke. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. That's how I roll every single time we do the show. So.
Well, let me say this, Doug. Not about your pants.
I was about
lack
to
of
say.
pants. I don't have pants on.
But about the network.
Are you in on your?
The positive is, at least these people aren't not buying the network because the network sucks. Because it's great. The network is awesome.
I love it.
And it's amazing that if anyone didn't have this positive reception to it, it would really surprise me. They introduced it in the wrong era of wrestling, and it's unfortunate. It is, but the product's just not where they hope that it would be in terms of that mainstream casual fan approach. It's just
but this is where it's going to take some modification in the thought process of the officials in the back, because now you're signing these guys, these top indie guys that people are people are rabid fans of these people. Wrestling fans that are still going to indie events are rabid fans of some of these guys, like Prince Devitt and
Fergal.
You have Fergal Devitt. Excuse me. Devitt, Devitt, however you want to say it. I said Sami Zayn for the longest time. I'm from the South. I make up the pronunciation. I care. Tomato, tomato, suck my wiener. One of those things where you're signing these guys like Prince, who is saying that he's going to have a crazy new look, obviously because he can't do the comic book painting. But he's saying that you can expect some kind of paint. You can expect some kind of, maybe the Bullet Club jacket, something like that. But you're having guys that have rabid fans. Kevin Steen, oh my God, one of those guys that has a rabid fan base.
Kill.
Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, these indie guys. Kenta, for crying out loud, the innovator, innovator of the go to sleep. One of these things where you have these guys that have fan bases, and to bring these guys in and not build them up to where they can be main event guys because they're smaller would be the wrong thing to do.
They're very smart.
At this time, when you have a lack of superstars, and Triple H is the one signing these small guys too. So it's one of those things where they're pulling in all these guys that can actually work, that have big fan bases already, that they're going to try to build up in NXT, get them a little bit bigger, and then send them out on the main roster. Triple H is extremely behind Sami Zayn, but how far are we actually going to see Sami Zayn go up the ladder? We haven't had any kind of belief outside of Punk leaving to give Bryan the shot at WrestleMania. We haven't gotten any kind of proof that they're going to change the way that they're doing things. But my thing is, if you're going to push this network, and we got it for a few weeks, and then the last couple weeks hasn't been that great, because this build towards SummerSlam, you're doing it with your main event guys not there, and you're doing a big match between Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella that they've tried to build up for the last few weeks, and it's what it is. Your Rollins and Ambrose is where you really should be highlighting, because that's going to be a big match that people want to see. They got slighted from that at Battleground, and now we're ready to see it. You should be building that matchup as big as possible. Hopefully tonight we get a big build for Orton and Reigns, because that's your other big match. It's going to take Reigns up to the next level, and it needs to. But if you're going to be trying to sell people on this network, especially for Night of Champions, and coming up soon when the subscription ends on August 24th, that 6-month agreement is done August 24th. You've got to have great TV. I mean, and we've talked about this. We've talked about reports of Triple H is really fighting against, like there's tension between Trips and Vince backstage, because Triple H is consistently having to fight for things to get done on TV. If you haven't noticed, since they fired the head writer, it's been more of Vince and Triple H being the actual producers of the show, actually writing a lot of stuff and getting things in order for the program. And there's been more of an attitude angle. There's been more cursing. There's been more unscripted moments, and that's happening because Triple H is having more authority on what the program's going to look like. Triple H is fighting for WWE TV to be better because they finally, or at least one of them understands that you can't sell a network for, no matter if it's $9.99 a month or $60 for a year or whatever it is, $29.99 for no subscription, where it's that it's $30 a month for people that don't want to commit to 6 months. Whatever they're changing all these crazy price tags up for, you can't sell that without having good TV, because the whole selling point is, you get the content that comes with the network, but the whole selling point is you get the pay-per-view for $10 a month. Like, that's the whole selling point. It's $9.99 for a pay-per-view, which is better than paying $65 for a pay-per-view, in my opinion. But you're only going to get us to, and this is how WCW was so good during the Monday Night Wars. WCW had really good Monday night television shows that always had a cliffhanger at the end that made you tune into the next week, which then got you to the pay-per-view. And consistently, their pay-per-view sucked. Their pay-per-view was usually bad. Outside of the undercard matches that were great, the main events never really matched up to how they were built up on Nitro. And where it was the opposite in WWE, WWF at the time. It was their undercard and midcard was absolutely terrible, but their main event was really, really freaking good. and whoever was in the IC title scramble was really good. And so those matches were the ones that you wanted to see. And it was one of those things where Monday nights were consistently the build towards the pay-per-view. And we've gotten where this whole past year, 2013, we have a book coming out very soon that kind of recaps the entire year of 2013, what happened in WWE. And I'm telling you, I've read that thing over and over again, the entire book, back to back, just cover to cover. And it literally, if you read through it and you go back and watch each pay-per-view, the pay-per-view takes you to Monday night. And that's not how wrestling should be booked. If you're trying to get someone to buy a $55 pay-per-view, why are they paying $55 for something that's not as good as what's going to happen the next night on Raw? So my thing is the Raw pay-per-view or the Raws and each Monday night and each Friday night have to build towards the pay-per-view instead of vice versa, how it's been. Free TV, I can watch a good Raw anytime if it's on. But the biggest thing is Raw has to be super freaking good to get us to an excellent pay-per-view instead of a mediocre, terrible pay-per-view that's supposed to get me to Monday night. And that's how it's been booked lately. And in the last few months, we've seen Triple H kind of start fighting for that and getting us something different. I'm just hoping that stays consistent. Last week wasn't that great. And again, you're trying to build a pay-per-view based on people that's not even going to be in the arena. So it's hard. But I'm excited to see where it goes from here because I really do think that they're starting to realize if they're trying to build towards the network and get subscribers, you have to make that pay-per-view must-see TV. And if you're not doing that on every Monday night and on every Friday night, then you're missing out. You're not doing exactly what you do. I mean, the issue that was very repetitive, and it's still happening right now, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Monday Night Raw is half of just repetitive stuff that we see on SmackDown, and it's because they don't believe people are watching SmackDown. People are just reading the spoilers, and that's the thing. SmackDown ratings have gone up over the last few months. The product on SmackDown is not bad. It's a Friday night, and people are doing other stuff. But we're getting repeat matches over and over again from SmackDown to Raw, and it's not giving us much to look forward to on a Monday night. And if I'm not looking forward to Monday night, why would I be looking forward to a Sunday?
I just want to make this point real quick, and I'll touch on that. Reverting back to the whole NXT thing with Kenta, Devitt, they're very smart in that it sounds at least like they're going to let Devitt and Kenta keep their names. He won't be Prince, but he'll be Fergal, which he has an association with. That's a very smart thing to do, especially because you brought up the point about you have these indie diehard fans who literally may they may give out $10 a month just to see those two guys. Mm-hmm. And that's a smart thing to do. Regarding what you said, that's been an issue truth be told, ever since the brand extension stopped. And a lot of people were complaining about the brand extension towards the end of it. But when it was at its peak, you had these proper builds going into each pay-per-view. And I think that had a lot to do with it when you have all this talent and not sure what to do with it.
Well, that was also because there was brand-exclusive pay-per-views, right? So there would almost be like 2 months between a Raw pay-per-view and then 2 months between a SmackDown pay-per-view. No wonder you were able to build.
They ended those around 2006, 2007, where they were doing the brand exclusive, and you still got some quality payoffs. There's too much saturation, too much time, too many shows. You can't do that gradual.
But even then, when it was exclusive, people still looked at SmackDown as the B program.
Well, I mean, for
even
part
though
of
there was
it,
better wrestling. There was better wrestling on SmackDown, and there were better storylines on Mondays.
For part of it, the only reason I think it was viewed as the B was because it was pre-taped at that point. Because you look 2002, 2003, 2004, SmackDown is the far superior program.
As far as, but different people's views. You know, SmackDown was the wrestling show. It had really good wrestling, and Monday nights were the ones that had really good storylines with people that you really wanted to see. A lot of I know for my generation and a lot of the guys that I watched wrestling with growing up and stuff, Monday nights were must watch. You didn't miss Monday nights. If you watched Thursday night, you watched Thursday night. It wasn't a must see. Even though I'm a huge Undertaker mark, Undertaker was on every Thursday night for 6 years.
I think a lot of it's with it being pre-taped, and I think if you're going to have that pre-taped stigma, people just aren't going to watch it. And you could say, oh, well, what about main event now? Or, okay, it's main event. It's on the network. You're not getting any actual progression.
Or even if they just want to keep it pre-taped, they should just move it back to Thursday nights. Because like you said, Friday, that's when people go out. That's when they want to go have fun.
Their ratings would tell you otherwise. Their ratings would tell you otherwise. Because guess what? They're targeting kids on that Friday night. Kids aren't going out on Friday nights.
Oh, totally. I mean, that's the thing. Their ratings have gotten better over the last few months. Yeah. For real. I mean, they're hitting around.
It's because they've been booking solid main events. Like, I mean, Roman Reigns versus Rusev, right?
Right, and then we're seeing that again on Mondays. You know, it's an issue.
Like, people will slowly figure out over time that it's just the same show. They're just going to transfer what you didn't watch on Friday and then put it on Raw because they know you didn't pay attention. Well,
the issue also is that they have a 3-hour show to fill. And luckily we don't. We only have an hour, and we're done. So
hallelujah.
The pre-show for Raw starts in 2 minutes on the network. If you have it, go watch it. I will say about main event, John, you said there's nothing really progressing on there. Dude, since it's hit the network, they have actually put stuff on there that matters. At least
they do put stuff
that progresses. We get confirmation for matches for pay-per-views. We get stuff that we got breaking news on there. I mean,
they put the nation on there too.
But you can miss main event and it won't matter. That's my point.
Sometimes you can miss Raw and it won't matter.
And that's a bigger problem than anything else. Like if you were to miss Raw and the Ascension were to debut, I mean that's just that's a fault on your behalf.
But we're on the road to SummerSlam, John, and you didn't get to see Raw very much, until right around the end last week. And what'd you say? Did I miss anything? What did I say? Not really.
Nope.
And same thing about Battleground. You could have missed Battleground and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those things where we had really good Raws leading up to Battleground. We were excited about Battleground.
And then the pay-per-view flopped.
And the pay-per-view wasn't great. And then the night after, we get, the week after, the night after, the Raw right after Battleground wasn't bad. This past week was terrible. And
then this week is going to be even worse.
I really hope that they focus a lot on Ambrose and Rollins tonight. I really hope they focus a lot on Reigns and Orton, and it's not lame. And then I hope that we get some good progression for the rest of the card. I think we get the rest
title stuff
the
tonight.
rest,
we
the
need
rest
tag
of the
title
card,
stuff so bad.
Yes, the rest of the card should be solidified tonight. I would not think that they're going to hold out on confirming matches for SummerSlam. They need to be promoting this thing like crazy, because it literally, it airs on the 17th, and then the next week is when everybody's subscription's over. So they've got to do something big. Something big has to happen at SummerSlam or the night after on Raw, to buy people, and I still think it's going to be Brock Lesnar winning the title. And after that,
cash in.
What are you going to say?
Cash in.
No.
The cash
or
in is going to be
Sting debuts and beats Brock Lesnar for the title.
And beats Victor.
And then he flies away with his flappy arms.
Yes.
I swear to God, guys.
I downloaded the new Android and iOS app, Flappy Sting Arms.
Wait,
it's a pretty cool game.
Can we just say, though, by the way, WWE 2K15, those graphics,
yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but was that an altered? Like, it wasn't in-game footage.
So.
Was it?
No, it was. It looked like it was just a vignette, like a connection image. But that's still sick. I mean, that's the most real of any game I've ever seen in my life.
2K Sports knows how to get it done.
I don't care if it's a cinematic or if it's actual gameplay. That was sick. It looked just like John Cena. They got the gorilla face and everything, man. That was impressive.
The veins.
The veins.
That game is in the hands of a better company. With all due respect to Ukes or whatever. What was it? Ukes?
You don't need to give them respect.
THQ.
They screwed up that series. 2K Sports will get it done right.
But the funny thing is, THQ was what made the old N64 games amazing.
And
No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 and
they do better with less.
WCW, NWO, Revenge, those games were awesome, and those games were THQ. So
if you're watching this 2K Sports, just send us a box of copies.
Like you did, or like you were going to last year. What happened? Let's make sure that gets done this year. How about that?
Connor intercepted it.
John?
No, it was Victor, dude. It was Victor.
Oh, my bad.
It was Victor. What's your Victor, Vector? One of those things where we're going to now say bye. And of course, follow us at WrestleRumors on Twitter. If you're not already doing that, if you're not doing that and you're watching the show, I have to ask you, how did you get to this show? But one of those things where you need to follow us. You can follow John Alba at John Alba SFC. That picture of him, yes, if you were wondering if that picture of John Alba beside his Twitter tag was him actually in the middle of saying, just wait and see. It is. It's literally him in the middle saying, "J." Yeah.
I'm actually saying, wait,
no. That's either you going "J" or that's your vinegar strokes. One of the two. And then of course we have Christopher Walter who asks, "Am I wearing pants?" Of course, Doug's reaction is no, never. And of course you can follow him at Walter Sports. And then our voice of the voiceless, who you can actually see his microphone today, and he chimed in with classic responses today. Man, a few words, but
best live Twitter in the world, though.
True. And
where the hell that mic come from?
Said less, but things that mattered. Mr. Alex B. Song, you can follow him at GlassModeALB on the tweet machine.
Doug.
You can follow my personal account at Doug O'Mac and at WrestleRumors tonight. Live tweet with me in 30 minutes. We're gonna have some fun.
Can I plug real quick?
You can plug whatever.
So if you're in Canada. If you're in Canada on August 7th, 8th, or 9th, come party in Canada with this guy, with the Seventh Son Band, and especially on August 8th, if you're in Toronto, Walter, myself, it's going down.
I'll be there, baby.
Cadillac Lounge. Come on, guys. You did it in New Orleans. They came, right, Doug? I mean, we're not hallucinating. They came to see us in New Orleans.
People did come to see us, but you have a killer band that's going to play in Canada.
Thank you.
People need to go check that out.
That's
if you
right.
Don't know about that, check out Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son. You can pick up their album on iTunes if you want.
Oh, God.
Do what you got to do. It's a pretty good album, actually. My wife and I listened to it in the car. But one of those things where, bye. We're done with you, and we're done with this. So enjoy Raw. Live tweet with us at WrestleRumors. We'll check you on the next one.